and 6.04.
Good evening. In my 21 years of being a distinguished educator, a champion for equality, inclusion, and diversity, as well as an expert in the field of education, I have only publicly spoken about concerns that directly impact and place our kids in harm's way. The first was related to Google and ed tech. Amazingly, that ended in a gigantic lawsuit against Google with the Attorney General of New Mexico. Yes, that was the case from here. And tonight I'm here to speak about the truths and the myths of the mandated critical race theory training known as equity and diversity in SPS. It is causing harm to the district and is causing harm to our children. During the mandatory Zoom in-person training, some of us had it in person, some had it in Zoom. Mine was Zoom. Some in my group were told that as the election was coming up, it was our duty as educators to vote for socialist politicians. It was our duty to ensure that we teach our kids, our students, to grow up and vote for socialist politicians. You can reference the slide on socialism that was in the Zoom training. It is not the duty of the district to tell me how to vote, nor whom to vote for. It is also not the duty of teachers to teach kids who to grow up and vote for. I've seen it stated many times, if our students know a teacher's political choice, we have failed. Not only have we failed, but we've stripped away the rights from the family to raise their child as they see fit. I also believe that telling me how to vote violates district policy GCGB. Another myth, the training was only for teachers and not for students. I've seen it published, I've heard it in board meetings. The truth was absolutely the truth. The training was absolutely provided for the staff with the intent on teaching this to kids. The mandatory Canvas portion of the training included links and multiple resources that were labeled as, this would be good to share with your kids. And seriously, what would the purpose of Brain Pop videos and Sesame Street videos about Black Lives Matter, Inc. be needed to teach the teachers if they weren't to be shared with the kids? Do we really need to use Sesame Street to teach our teachers? There was even a personal recorded message from our superintendent encouraging teachers to apply it in their classrooms. Another myth, at the last board meeting, there was a conversation about the December 8th presentation and critical race theory. At the last board meeting, it was stated that only senior leadership attended the Facing Racism Institute that included critical race theory. The truth, there were only 105 senior leadership members that attended that training. However, 169 SPS employees and board members attended that training. SPS made it mandatory per the presentation for senior leadership, Board of Education members, and site equity champions. Equity champions are those individuals at each site to deliver the additional training and resources to staff at that building. If there were no plans to implement the components of critical race theory into the classroom, then why train the site champions? Critical race theory is absolutely embedded into the curriculum, and it is being taught in SPS. In fact, one of the SPS champions tweeted out about CRT and SPS. During my training, I asked a specific question about Halloween costumes as it was on the oppression matrix. I specifically asked how this should be addressed in the classroom as the training was to be implemented in the classroom. I'll sum it up. As Halloween was just around the corner, I asked specifically about Disney movies and kids dressing up like their favorite character. The response was to tell your student you're happy that they like, let's say, Moana, and that you cannot support their decision to dress like them, but you'll be happy to help them research Moana. As an educator, it is not our job to shame kids. It is our job to lift kids up. It is not my job as an educator to take on the role of the parent. Sadly, I believe this guidance has been implemented into our classrooms and kids are made to feel ashamed. You can say it's not in the classroom, but the truth is, it is, and we are failing our kids.
Thank you, Brooke.
The biracial child, I'm not done.
I'm telling
Tonight,
you,
I am here to be the voice of one child that has been impacted by CRT in their school. The biracial child, according to the parent, after attending SPS, felt so bad about the being white part.
I'm allowing you to speak. Your 5 minutes is up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, you have a child in SPS that tried to commit suicide
Your
because they
time
were
is
told
up.
they were white.
Time is up. Okay, we have another speaker.
Dawn, is what she's saying true?
Yes.
You're not talking amongst the
This
board around this
is-
topic. You can address the board chair if you would like.
3 minutes.
Yeah, I thought I prepared 5.
Well, can you cut it down to 3, please?
Well, I've got 3 minutes to try to decide what I'll bring it to. I was thinking, well, at least I get most of the preachers to talk.
Well, as soon as you come up here, your time's going to start, so if you want me to give you when you got 10 seconds, I'll be happy to.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to be here tonight, and I'm glad to be on the hot seat out of the freezer out there. So, after 50 years of teaching, I retired, and after 19 years of K-2 public school, 31 years of university teaching, I no longer show up in the classroom every day, but my passion for kids and education has not subsided. After attending the SPS board meeting last month, I felt compelled to speak truth, clarity, and warning about the critical race theory to the board and to this community. Some of you were elected to the board because of your written campaign statements in opposition to this dangerous indoctrination. My understanding is that though CRT has not been formally adopted, there have been training sessions for teachers, and in spite of the denials, it is being implemented into our schools through subtle and not so subtle ways, like required reading lists. I respectfully listened to multiple speakers who repeated the politically correct talking points of diversity, equity, and inclusion as the mantra of how to best indoctrinate our students today, and to pit one race against another by shaming one race and pitying the other one. In whose psychology book is this sound teaching? I heard nothing about how to raise our sinking test scores or how to better prepare our students for a profession or vocation that best utilizes their innate strengths. I listened to the denials of the critical race theory as having Marxist origins as well as indisputable facts about its implementation. I'm going to have to skip here somewhere. I commented about the Springfield Middle School that made national news because of requiring English people to take a test, and it was an oppression matrix where Christian males are members of the oppressor class and must atone for their privilege, covert white supremacy. I was appalled that schools in my home city were doing that. The dangerous CRT has infected all areas of our society because of assumed equal opportunity. I'm going to have to skip more. If you want our kids to begin looking at each other through the wrong end of a telescope so that they begin to obsess on the color of people's skin and keep any semblance of CRT in the curriculum. I have been, 66 years ago, integration was implemented into the Springfield public school system. And now we are asking this school board to make segregation back into the classrooms. I don't think so. I have a black son, and we have discussed a lot about what's going on, and I would like to at least get his part in. If I could just pull it up and find it.
You have 10.
Just a second. I'm closing with a quote from my black son, my adult son, who is sickened by the critical race theory. He sees it for the dangerous, divisive, and self-destructive force that it is. He speaks for thousands of minorities who realize the implementation of critical race theory actually sets them back decades, and it obliterates the acceptance and advantages they now enjoy as a result of their work together with their white counterparts to fully live the American dream of freedom and justice for all. His words to me, critical race theory has nothing to do with equality or education. The goal is confusion so that our children will conform to a system of anti-morals and anti-values that have guided our nation to its inception. Please, Springfield Board, reject this poisonously dangerous and destructive Marxist curriculum.
Thank you,
Our children
Sharon.
deserve a good, solid education free from
Your
this.
time is finished. In fact, I gave you about an extra 15, 20 minutes, seconds.
Well, I'm sorry it's so disjointed. I
You
did a
can
lot
come
of
back.
research and very carefully prepared this.
You know what? You're certainly welcome to come back.
Okay. I wish I had known it was only going to be 3 minutes.
Well, it says right at the bottom of your page that for non-agenda items, it's 3 minutes.
It's also posted
I
online.
don't think I have that page.
It's posted online.
You signed it.
Oh, I did, that's on the bottom of the page, I didn't see it. And I actually thought I was going to be in the first comment section.
Yeah, okay, well, you
No, I
can
was-
come back and watch the agendas in the future, and you can come back.
Right.
And speak on
Well,
agenda.
last time I didn't get to speak, so I came back this time.
Okay, so we need to move on, because we've had a long meeting, and our folks work tomorrow and have things they need to do, and we appreciate our comments. So we're moving on to 10.01, Superintendent's Update.